Embattled rapper and music mogul Sean Diddy Combs hit with federal charges today amid a long-running investigation. He was in court today in New York on charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. The indictment alleging Combs orchestrated and recorded coerced sex acts that he called freak-offs. He was arrested yesterday after a wave of lawsuits against him alleging sexual assault and misconduct. Let's bring in NewsNation's Caitlin Becker, who's live outside of the federal courthouse there in Manhattan. Caitlin, you've been following this all. You read the indictment. What else does it say?
Well, Nichole, a persistent pattern of abuse. That is what the U.S. Attorney lays out in this indictment against Sean Diddy Combs. He has not been seen in court yet. We expect him to be arraigned on charges of sex trafficking and racketeering within the next hour or two, but he has been in federal lockup this whole time since he was arrested last night. And the allegations against him in this indictment are pretty brutal, though they're not that different than the things we've read already in those 10 or so lawsuits that have been filed against him. Included in this indictment is a detailed description of that 2016 incident with his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. We've seen the video that leaked earlier this summer. Now, she accused him of chasing her down a hallway, kicking, dragging, beating her, throwing a vase at her. She did that in a lawsuit. That lawsuit was settled within a day, but then that video came out, and we see that included here in this indictment. Now, you mentioned the term freak-off. That is going to be something we are going to talk a lot about throughout this entire legal process when it comes to Diddy, and I'm going to let the U.S. Attorney explain exactly what that means, which he did earlier today at a press conference. Take a look.
Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant. As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs.
And Nichole, that violence is detailed in this indictment. I'm going to read a quick part of that to you. Quote, Combs assaulted women by, among other things, striking, punching, dragging, throwing objects at, and kicking them. Now, meanwhile, he is expected to plead not guilty in court later today, Nichole.
You know, and Caitlin, I know that you had a chance to catch up with his attorney this morning. What did he tell you?
You know, from the attorney's perspective, we caught him when he was walking into court earlier today. He is speaking from the perspective of an innocent client. He said his client was a flawed man, but he is not a guilty man, that he is innocent, and they're going to fight these charges, plead not guilty. He also indicated that Diddy was going to surrender to authorities, saying that, essentially he had known that these charges were going to come down and had voluntarily relocated here to New York. But the U.S. attorney didn't indicate that to be the case, didn't seem to think that there was going to be any sort of surrendering happening. So we do expect that Diddy is going to fight these charges tooth and nail. But what's interesting, Nichole, is I mentioned the accusations from Cassie Ventura that are in this indictment. After that video leaked this summer, Diddy posted a lengthy apology about his actions, sort of copping to some culpability there. It seems like he admitted to some of the charges that we see now in this indictment, but he never mentioned her by name or those specifics. So it's going to be interesting to see if that is actually going to be coming into play as we see this come out through the legal system. Now, we know that his homes were raided earlier this year, homes in Miami as well as Los Angeles. Those raids by the federal investigators are directly involved in this case, and we do know what they seized at the home. They allegedly seized some video evidence of these quote-unquote freak-offs, as well as items that were used in these events, including, according to investigators, 1,000 bottles of baby oil and personal lubricant. Additionally, there were firearms, 3 AR-15s to be specific, that were taken allegedly out of Diddy's bedroom closet, Nichole, in Miami.
Yeah, some disturbing details included in this investigation that apparently has lasted decades. Caitlin Becker, live for us there in Manhattan. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.